this is something I've wanted to vent about for a long time now. Where do I even begin? Something happened recently that was kind of the last straw, and I've got to get all this off my chest because it's been bothering me for a while. So, okay, there are two major telecommunications network providers out there, kind of a duopoly. And it's not much of a choice. It's like choosing death by hanging or drowning. So, obviously, I'm not alone in my frustration with both of these companies, judging from the fact that they've got haters online, even websites dedicated to hating them. This is my experience, okay? So my first experience with one of these providers was many years ago when I bought my first home. The builder had to deal with this provider, so I got my phone, TV, internet, everything through them, and everything was fine, I guess. The prices kept going up, but whatever. Well, then their competition, the other provider, they approached me offering me free services for a year if I switch to them. So it's like, well, I'm not a fan of change and I'd rather just leave things as they are, but I can't say no to free. I mean, you know, when you're on your own and try to make ends meet, having, you know, one of your monthly expenses gone, that's awesome. So I switched. So after that, so I had free services for a year, and it was all top of the line, like free internet and cable and everything. Now, of course, they gave me 2 boxes, like I had cable and 2 TVs and all these free channels. Like, and of course, what they're hoping is that you'll get so used to having all this for a year that you'll want to keep it, and then you'll have to pay through the nose for it. Well, when the year was up and I was going to have to start paying, and when I saw what it was going to cost me, I'm like, oh, hell no. So I gave up one of the boxes, returned the box. So I only had TV in the living room, not the bedroom. I knocked off all the expensive channels. I just had basic cable. Like, basically, I watch Bachelor. Like, I watch the Bachelor franchise. Other than that, I don't watch too much TV, so I don't need all those fancy channels. But anyway, so yeah, and I stayed with them. I'm a very loyal customer. I stayed with them for years and years. Well, the other company kept trying to get my business back. They hounded me. I swear they called me daily for a decade. Because I would see it on my phone. I would see they'd called again every single day. And usually I just wouldn't answer it. So finally one day I did answer, and I said, look, they stole me away from you by giving me free services for a year. So unless you can offer me free, I'm not going to be switching. And of course they couldn't offer me free, so they stopped calling me for a while. But then it started again. The calls and the mail. They're trying to win me back, right? So anyways, over time, this provider that I was with, I was not very happy with them. The prices kept going up. Now, the other thing is too, I had a PVR, okay? Now, my PVR, I collected hundreds of shows, like shows for Michelle and for me, and I wanted to keep them. Well, then it got to a point, they were upgrading and changing their services, and they wanted me to give up my PVR box, which meanwhile now I had paid $300 for and owned, because once you have it over so much time and you're paying to rent it, eventually you own it. So now that I owned it, they want me to get rid of it and lose all my shows and just change to their new Fire TV, whatever it is. So I'm like, screw that. So I was mad. Anyways, they were going to be changing their services eventually, and I wasn't going to have a choice. But in the meantime, I just wanted, I'm a creature of habit. I don't like change. Here's another thing to know about me, okay? Most people have Netflix. They don't even care about cable TV. Most people have a cell phone. They don't even care about a landline. I am not most people. I had a cell phone for a brief time. It was a used one that someone gave me. It was already obsolete when I got it, and I only used it for emergencies. It lasted me a couple of years, and then it just didn't work at all because, of course, Apple forced obsolescence. They want to keep upgrading, so you have to get a new phone, but I'm not going to buy a new phone. So anyways, no cell phone, so I need my landline, and no Netflix, so I need my cable TV. Anyways, okay, so now fast forward to this year. Now in January, my provider that I was with, the one who back in the day had given me free services trying to get my business, well, they were taking me for granted because more and more the price kept going up. My services were getting worse. I kept having problems with the box freezing and everything. And of course, because my PVR, they wanted me to get rid of it. So of course, they're not going to help me fix it. They want me to get rid of it. So I was getting very frustrated. Now, I don't like change, but I thought they're forcing me to change anyway, and I'm going to have to give up my box and all my shows. So maybe I'll look at the competition. What did they have to offer? Well, they priced a very low offer that sounded almost too good to be true. So then I phoned them for details. And I took notes because I wanted to make sure I got everything and really made the decision, because the other thing was, okay, even if they're going to be offering me much better services, much cheaper, I would have to have someone to the house. Now, during the pandemic, I have not had anyone to my house. My own family doesn't visit. We barely go out. We used to just go grocery shopping, and now we even order groceries in. Nobody sets foot in my house. Okay, I was diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety before the pandemic. So now with the pandemic, I take it seriously. My anxiety is at a peak. I try to control everything I can. I did not want a person in my house. So I was dead against this, but I got all the information. They were even offering me a $150 prepaid Visa card. They were basically offering me the sun and the moon to switch to them. So I'm like, okay, there are so many pros here. The one con is I have to have some guy in the house. So what I did, I literally ordered a HEPA filter air cleaner so I could have that running in the room where he was. Now this is winter, so ideally you don't have the windows and the doors open, but I opened doors and windows. We had N95 masks on, but anyway, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. So when I heard the deal, it was too good to pass up, and I was being forced to change and give up my PVR box anyway, so I thought, okay, I'll give them a try. So I thought first I will go with my provider that I'm already with and tell them, here's the deal I'm getting from them, can you match it? Not only would they not match it, not even close. I'm like, you're going to lose a customer that's been a loyal customer for a decade, and you're just going to let me go, and they couldn't care less. So I'm like, okay, well, see ya. So I signed up with this new provider and agreed to have the technician come here. I was told it was going to take 4 to 6 hours, that most of the work would be outside. He'd have to come inside to put in the box. Now, the things that I was promised 2 boxes, one for my living room and one for my bedroom. I was promised 10 channels, and anyway, all these things. I had taken notes. So when the guy gets here, and mind you, I'm like a basket case because I don't want anyone in my house. I'm a control freak, and it's like the pandemic. So I made him wear an N95 mask. I wore an N95 mask, and Michelle wore an N95 mask and stayed in her room. We didn't eat anything while the guy was here. I'm like, we'll have dinner. We'll go out for dinner once the guy's gone. I'm not taking off my mask while he's here at all. So anyway, the guy comes in. Long story short, too late. It was a nightmare. Okay, so he was outside, and then he was inside a long time. He was having problems. The first box that he brought in didn't even work. Apparently, because I have an old TV, they didn't warn me, if you have an old TV, it might not work. So I had lines across the screen, I was losing my and then too, he was saying I was only entitled to 1 box. 1, not 2. And I'm like, but I took notes on the phone when they talked. I said, this is why I agreed to the installation, is I believe that these were the things I was promised. So arguing with the guy, I showed him my notes. So he phoned and told them, and I had it written down. So anyway, he said, yeah, they're going to give me the 2 boxes, but they couldn't even find one that worked on this TV. So anyway, I was a basket case. I was pacing the floor, waiting for the guy to leave. I couldn't wait for him to leave so I could open all the doors and windows, air the place out, go and get dinner. I was starving. I was pacing all day. I didn't even eat. Anyways, so finally gets everything installed. Seems like it's okay. I had to fight to get all the things they promised me, but it seemed like I could finally breathe a sigh of relief. Okay, guys, finally gone, 7 o'clock at night. I'm starving. I hadn't eaten all day. So we go and get dinner. The very next day, the TV didn't work. So the box that he'd given me, that he had a hard time even finding one that would work, I guess it was an old refurbed box, whatever, it didn't work. The very next day, it already didn't work. I'm like, so I'm obviously not impressed. They tried to get my business for 10 years, and now I'm with them 1 day, and my TV receiver doesn't work. So I call them. They say, all right, they'll courier me another receiver and switch them over, and I just have to send the old one back, blah, blah, blah. So then, get the new receiver, hook it up, send the old one back. I get a bill. My bill was supposed to be low, instead of which it was over $400. I'm like, are you kidding me? They charged me for the box, like as if I've got two of them. Yeah, I'm just like storing these boxes, and I'd sent the other one back, but they didn't get it or whatever yet. So I call billing to get this straightened out, and she has the nerve to say to me, well, just pay it and then you'll be credited next month. I'm like, I'm not paying. Like, do you think I have an extra $400 to throw away and then you're going to pay me back? Are you out of your freaking mind? I'm like, oh, hell no. You you take that off my bill. You fix this. I don't owe that. Like, how dare you? Like, does anyone actually fall for this? She goes, well, you're going to have late charges if you don't pay the full amount. I'm like, I was ready to lose it. So anyway, and I think I did lose it. But anyway, eventually I talked to someone that was a rational human, and they reduced my bill and took like most of that off. So you'd think this would be the end of my nightmare and I could just go on my merry way. No. There was one problem after another. My phone wouldn't work, or my internet wouldn't work, or this or that. And it's like, so then last month, I had at one point a big red X on my TV. Like just a big red X. Oh, this is the other thing. Okay. So this living room TV, it's an older TV. I guess it doesn't work very well with their newfangled machines. So when I go to turn my TV on, I have to wait about 3 to 5 minutes for it to load. Like if I'm need to watch a show at a certain time, I have to make sure I turn on the TV earlier, because you'll miss the first few minutes. Like you turn the TV on and it thinks about it. Sometimes you get a little cogwheel icon. Sometimes you get a blue screen or no signal. It thinks about it and eventually turns on. Well, there was one day in May that just big red X, nothing, no TV. There was one day in May that just big red X, nothing, no TV. So I'm like, not this again. Oh my God, I didn't even tell you about the modem. So at one point, no internet, things weren't working, and they said it was a modem problem. So I called the guy, he said, it's a modem problem, they'll send me a new modem. Well then, when I got off the phone with him, I had no phone either. And I don't have a cell phone, so I was completely cut off from the world. So that was very stressful. Then they sent a new modem. I had to hook it up myself because I didn't want anyone in the house. And there are instructions where you have to be very careful with the fiber optic cable and blah, blah. Like I might as well have been dismantling a bomb. I was like traumatized trying to do this. And anyway, got it all set up. It worked, thank God. But then again, one problem after another. So there was no TV this one day. So I call. I waited on hold for 1 hour and every 2 minutes they had this little automated message that would come on. Thank you for your patience. Please continue. All our agents are busy. Please continue to hold. So I was livid. Finally get a human and they tell me that it was province-wide. There was a province-wide outage. Nobody had cable TV from this company in Ontario or Quebec. Well, that might have been something helpful that you could have put on your automated message so that I wouldn't wait on hold for an hour. Like, you could have had that instead of every 2 minutes having some stupid robot say, thank you for your patience, of which I have none because I'm furious. You could have just said, province-wide outage, Ontario and Quebec, everyone's got it, you know, we're working on it. So TV finally came back at like 10:30 at night. Well then, after all that, okay, so this is the last straw, the latest little incident. So one day, like, there on the box, there are these 3 little icons. So the little eye was red, which was a red flag. I'm like, what now? Something's wrong. But the TV still worked, so I didn't think too much of it. So later on, I tried to use the internet, and there was no internet. It was saying on my computer. So I asked my daughter. She said, yeah, there was no internet. I didn't want to stress you out, so I didn't tell you. I'm like, please, you got to tell me when something's wrong, because I got to do something about it. So I call this company to tell them that yet again, there's another problem. Like, I haven't been through enough. I only had their services installed in January, and every single month something has gone wrong with either the internet or the phone or the TV or all 3. So now I call tech support because there's no internet. And it says, like, there's an automated message saying to unplug your modem to let it reboot. The problem is my modem has a battery backup. So when you unplug it, the battery just kicks in. And I wasn't sure about how to take the battery out. Really didn't want to go through that because I was already, you know, traumatized when I had to hook the modem up, and I just didn't want to deal with it. So anyway, talked to the guy. He says he's going to fix it. He's going to try to fix my modem. So just hang tight. So I'm waiting on hold for 20 minutes. And then after a while, I'm like, hello, hello. I'm wondering, like, is the line dead? Is the guy still there? Has he just left me to die? Anyway, I'm like, okay, I'm going to call back. I hang up. I go to call back. My phone is dead now. When I called the guy, I had no internet, but my phone still worked, obviously, to call him, and my TV still worked. Now I had nothing. The cable was out, no TV, no phone, and no internet. So now I'm completely cut off from the world. So I'm like, what do I even do? I can't even call them because I have no phone. I can't go online because I have no internet. Like before, when I had a problem with the phone, I would just write to them online, like chat, but now I have nothing. So I'm like, I didn't even know what to do. And I'm like, what if I have an emergency? Like, like this is not safe. So, and I told them before, I have no cell phone. Like this, I cannot be without a phone. And you would think when your company's named after the guy who invented the phone, maybe you could count on phone service, but not so much. So anyways, so a guy just leaves me to die. So I'm waiting, like hours later, I'm like, are they going to call me just magically? My phone's suddenly going to work and everything's just going to work? No, I got no call, nothing. So by 10 o'clock, I was fit to be tied. I'm like, what do I do at this point? Like, do I go into a store and buy a cell phone? Like, I don't even know how to set it up. Like, I might need the internet or something for that. Do I go to this provider's store if I can find one and complain and say, you know, you guys left me with nothing. Like I called for help and the guy made it worse, made it 100 times worse. Thanks. So I found a phone book because now I can't even look online to see where there is a store for this provider. So I found an old-fashioned phone book and saw, okay, there's a store near here. So but I didn't want to do that. Like we don't even go to the grocery store. We don't go anywhere. I don't want to go in a freaking store now over this. So at night I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to look for the instructions for the mode and find out how to take the battery out, and I'm going to try a reboot. So I did that and I got my internet back. TV still didn't work, phone still didn't work, but at least I had internet. So I went online to the chat thing and I'm like, for the love of God, please help me. Like, I don't even know if my internet's going to crap out again. I have nothing. So, and all you get is the automated, all of our agents are busy. Please continue to wait. So I'm like typing in there, like SOS, help. Like I'm Anne Marie Pittsville, this is my address. Like, please help me. I have no phone, internet, anything. I just got internet back now, but I don't know if I'm going to lose it again. So anyways, long story short, too late. I get a guy that says he can't do anything about the phone, but he can help me fix my TV. I'm like, well, the phone is kind of the most urgent thing because I'm cut off from the world right now. But anyways, so I'm like, yeah, sure. If you can fix my TV so that I can get my mind off my life. Well, whatever he did to fix the TV, it fixed the phone. And he said that the TV was unstable and that it had knocked out my phone and my internet, whatever. But I mean, I was livid because here I thought, I called them for help. I called this tech guy. He said he was going to fix my modem, instead of which I lost everything. And then they don't even do anything about it. They just leave me like that. So anyway, I said, my bill better be free next month after going through this. So then the guy was like, well, talk to billing. So the next day I called billing and bawling my eyes out and the whole spiel. I mean, I've had to call them now pretty much every month something has gone wrong. And I've called them, and every time I tell them, look, I have PTSD and anxiety. Like, I can't deal with anything going wrong. Like, the number of things I can take going wrong are 0. And it's been one problem after another. Considering you hounded me for a decade trying to get my business, you finally get my business. And this is how it feels like, sure, they gave me a good deal, but they've cut so many corners. It was such a crappy job. They give me used equipment that doesn't work. They do, oh my God, I didn't even tell you about the phone. They changed my phone number. So they didn't warn me. Okay, I don't deal well with change. They didn't warn me that when I got all new services, my phone number was going to change. And apparently I found it from someone else. I could have kept my old phone number. They never gave me that as an option. So my phone number changed. I ended up missing a call from my doctor. I was supposed to have an appointment on the phone with my doctor. I couldn't get into my bank account because my bank account sent a security code to my old number that no longer existed. So that was another catastrophe. Like, oh my God, I cannot tell you the amount of mental anguish this company has put me through. So anyway, so I tell Billy my whole tale. Well, she was very kind. She was very sympathetic. She said she's committed to my account. She's going to keep an eye on it. She's going to call to check in on me sometime. So she was very nice. And I hope, like I hope to God, things get better, because it has not been very encouraging so far. It's been a nightmare. And I would like to complain about that guy, that tech guy left me to die. Like, I called him for help. At that point, I had no internet. He cut out my phone and TV too, everything, and then just left it like that. Like, just left me to rot. So I'm like, I'm so discouraged. But what do you do? Because you have a choice of 2 companies, and they're both pretty terrible. Like, they'll move heaven and earth to get your business. But once they have it, they take you for granted. They're going to keep putting your bill up. They're going to keep charging you more for crappy service. You call in, you wait on hold for hours. Like, it's so frustrating, but I know I've got to keep it in perspective because the world's falling apart right now and there's people going through a lot worse. So I'm blessed that these are the only problems I have, but was just so frustrated about this whole ordeal. I just wanted to vent and see if anyone else can relate. Well, actually, I know people can relate because I've seen a lot of complaints online for both companies, but I don't know what you do. But anyways, that's my rant. Thanks for listening. Take care. Stay safe. So I did want to add one thing, that when I do call billing and complain about what I've been through, they are very sympathetic, and I do apologize in advance. I tell them, look, I've got PTSD and anxiety. I know this isn't your fault personally, so I apologize if I come across as angry and blaming, but I'm just so frustrated. And of course, they always say the typical, I understand your frustration. But they are usually very nice, and they do usually give me a credit on my bill. When it was the province-wide outage, they could only do a couple of bucks because it was everyone, so they couldn't give that much off. But for things like the internet, they took the internet portion off my bill. So, I mean, they have been accommodating that way. But the bottom line is, I don't want things to go wrong. Like, you pay for services, you just kind of hope that they work. And I mean, as a single mom trying to survive a pandemic on my own, money's tight, inflation through the roof, like trying to make ends meet, like just, I can't deal with anything. Like, I just want things like something like watching TV. I should be able to turn on my TV and it should work. I should be able to pick up the phone and make a call. Like, especially that, like, that's important. Like, I'm isolated, you know, and my internet and my phone are my connection to the world. So you take that away from me, like, what am I supposed to do? So it's scary, like it's not safe. So I got to be able to count on that. But it feels like they cut corners, because it's like they don't care. I'm a dinosaur, right? Like they don't care about landlines anymore because everybody has a cell phone. Well, I don't. And now I don't like that they don't install an actual phone jack. You don't have actual phones. Now it's just plugged into the modem. So God forbid if something goes wrong with the modem, you're screwed, because now you got no TV, phone, or internet. Nothing. Like, I don't like that. Like, to me, I want to feel safe that I got a phone. Like, now I kind of wish I did have a cell phone for emergencies, but I can't afford another monthly expense. So no, thank you. And I'm not one of these people, you know, that's got to be texting when I have no patience for that. And I used to need a cell phone for commuting, but now I don't go anywhere. So I'm like, I don't want to waste money on that. But it's just frustrating, because it's like, they just don't care. They just try to get away with bare minimum, like give you the worst equipment, worst service, and then just hope you don't notice and keep putting the price up, and it's just frustrating. But anyway, that's my rant. I don't even know which company to recommend, because I don't recommend either of them, and they're the only two really that there are. It's basically a duopoly. You're screwed. So what do? Anyways, I mean, I guess most people, they don't even worry about having a landline because they've got their cell, and they don't worry about cable because they've got Netflix, whatever. But I'm old-fashioned, you know, and I'm a loyal customer. You'd think you should want to keep my business, but they don't until it's too late. Anyways, so that's enough of my ranting for now. I just needed to vent, get that all off my chest, because it's since January, like every month there's been something, and it's just one thing after another, and it's so frustrating. But anyways, hopefully now things are going to be better.